Hello and welcome to Turn of Speed. Today we're here with Mr. Roland Bouchard, who is CEO and MD of Stellantis India. Welcome.
Thank you.
You've been given the responsibility for developing and expanding Stellantis in India. What has the run been like so far?
Actually, as you know, I started first before Stellantis to come over in India to launch the Citroen brand. With introducing the Citroen brand in 2019 and then launching last year the C5 SUV, which is the Citroen flagship. And we decided to use this flagship to demonstrate the Citroen DNA. And this year, soon, the first car from our new platform, the CQ platform, the C3, will be launched. And then we will have one car every year. Coming back to Jeep, it's as well a very exciting time, and in the sense that we are at the beginning of what we so call the product offensive. We launched the new Compass last year.
Right.
Then we had the Wrangler, the Trewalk, Meridian, which is the second key player. That's where we do talk quite a lot, and then the Grand Cherokee. At the end of the year. You see, I mentioned this because we are talking about an intensive product offensive for Stellantis in India between the lineup of Jeep and the beginning of the launch of the lineup for Citroen.
Right. Okay. You have been handling two completely different brands, one French, one American. What has that been like in India? How easy or how difficult has that been?
Actually, first of all, what I have to tell you is I've been, as you know, in India for many years now, more than 5 years, even if I knew India before.
Right.
Both of the lineup have been are manufactured and developed in India.
Mm-hmm.
We have two R&D, engineering,
right.
And both of the lineup, if we speak about the Meridian, the top hat of the Meridian is very important and developed in India. Concerning the other brand, Citroen has been as well, this platform has been developed, designed and developed in India for India. So, coming back to your question, I am so excited, first of all, to be such intensive product offensive, and secondly, because these cars have been adapted to the Indian market.
Right.
Both of them, because we have a strong footprint, as you understood, in terms of R&D, engineering, and the platform and manufactured in India. So we had to have a good knowledge of the Indian market to make sure that this car, within the segment when they are going to be positioned, are adapted to the Indian customer expectation. So from this way, I think it was very exciting, challenging, and at the same time making us confident that we have developed a car for the Indian market.
Right.
And this way, making you not 100% confident, obviously, because we are never 100% confident, but giving you enough confidence to make sure that the product is going to be rightly and fairly positioned within each of the segments when they are going to be positioned.
Which brings me to the question of localization. How successful have you all been with localizing it at really high levels?
But
both the products.
The localization. What are the key learning about the success for OEM in India? Is first of all to have a consistent product portfolio, not having up and down.
Right.
It's what we have both for at this stage Jeep and Citroen for the reason I just explained.
Right.
Secondly, is to make sure these cars are going to be made in India with a high level of localization. Why? Is because this vehicle must be attractive, obviously, but with a good positioning in terms of pricing, but as well in terms of TCO for the customers, in terms of return of parts. It is why the rate of localization is quite important. But to achieve this rate of localization, which must be the highest possible, we need a supplier base. It's what we have developed now with Stellantis in India.
Right.
We believe, and it's taking time, a good supplier base, and that's why we believe that India is going to become a global purchasing hub for Stellantis.
Right.
And talking about this overall footprint without forgetting the ICT and Hyderabad, which is a global hub for Stellantis, and the software as well hub for Stellantis. You know, India is already a global hub for many parts of the automotive industry in India.
Right.
This means as well the commitment and the long-term commitment of Stellantis in India.
Right. You know, your cars are very aspirational, and at the same time, they're deemed to be slightly on the more expensive side. How would you react to that?
Alors, when we speak the car, alors, we have to talk about the two brands. Exactly.
Yes, please.
Our Jeep is an iconic brand with its own DNA, being mainly an SUV, with a kind of lifestyle, with capability, and we are talking now about the sophistication. So, Jeep has its own DNA, and the value of Jeep is based about the DNA, which are very well recognized and appreciated by the customer.
Right.
And the reputation of the brand is outstanding according to the survey that we can get. So it's a part of the market where we are. But the most important point, speaking about each of the brand, and I will come back about Citroen just after, is to make sure that your product are going to be in each of the segment a key player, meaning having a significant market share. This is the case today with the Compass, because when you look at where the Compass is positioned within the price bracket segment, our market share is surely above 70%. Wrangler, the sub-market is probably smaller, but the market share is quite consequent. It's what we want as well to achieve with the Meridian within the DSUV. We believe we will be as well a key player. And the same for Grand Cherokee. And at the same time, if I move now, swap to Citroen, the segment are going to be different than Jeep.
Right.
Again, we are talking about as well an iconic brand, not so well known in India, but a brand who has a century history, which is iconic in many other countries that we have introduced now a couple of years.
Right.
If I take the C3, and you know the C3 because we unveiled the C3 some months ago, the C3 will be in the hatch segment,
Yes.
part of the hatch segment, but this one will be what we so-called a mainstream segment, if I may say, coming back to your initial question, and the C3 is designed for as well becoming one of the key players. And will be the same for the other one who are going to be produced from the C-Cubed platform.
Right.
The important point to answer to your question is to make sure that each of the product will be or will generate a strong presence within the segment or the sub-segment where it is going to be positioned. That is very important in terms of sustainability.
Right. You've had a very busy year so far, and it looks like you're going to have many more products coming in. Can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect in the coming months?
In the coming months, the next month is the start of production of the Meridian is starting, so we are very excited. Then later on for Jeep and the year we are going to launch the Grand Cherokee,
Yes.
which is the second one. We are talking about 4 or 5 models within 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's
quite
about-
consequent.
Yes.
And concerning the other brand that we mentioned before, Citroen, we will launch soon the C3.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not going to unveil the next year's and the product plan, but as I said before, we need to maintain a consistent product launch because which is important in India, which is a growing market,
Right.
where 64% of the population is below 34 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this kind of population which is on a perpetual motion, perpetual upgrading. So it is very important for a brand to be consistent,
Right.
to bring something new into the market
Right.
regularly,
Right.
not having up and down.
Right.
It is what we are going to try to do.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you all are trying to do in order to make Citroen a more household name?
Citroen has been introduced now in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
We launched the C5 SUV. The harness is still lower, obviously, than Jeep because the presence in India is quite recent. With the development of the product lineup, the awareness is going to grow. And more than that, with more cars on the road, that will be the case with the C3 and so on, the awareness is going to increase. But as you know, it's taking some time.
Right.
We cannot increase the awareness on a short-term basis.
Sure. The Jeep Cherokee, can we expect it by Diwali? Do you think it will be here?
Will be, with it not voluntary not being so precise, it will be by the end of the day.
Okay. I also am curious to know, are you planning to bring any more brands into India?
At this stage, we need, first of all, to develop the current brand, Jeep, which is now on the right track to tackle more and more segments.
Right.
And we have just started to implement Citroen. You know,
Right.
it's taking time. We need to concentrate our energy.
Right.
First of all, doing very well what we're supposed to do for these two brands.
Sure. But there must be some kind of research happening in the background to see how the Indian customers are ready to be probably spending more on bigger, better brands.
You know, India
What's happening?
is a tough market.
Yes.
Well, even if I don't know an easy market, but it's a tough market. We need, first of all, again, as I said, to implement properly the brand, notably Citroen, as you mentioned before, for the rate of awareness has to increase, but that will come with the lineup and time. And we need to focus on energy, first of all, to settle down both of the brand.
Right. Do you see a possibility of Alfa Romeo coming to India?
It is not in the plan at this stage.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
for your time. Thank you so
It's a
much
pleasure.
for this interview.
It's a
Thank
real
you.
pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.